Now, more Alice Cooper, one-on-one, live with Kim Mitchell, exclusively on Classic Rock, Q107.
Hey, you've written, you delivered a ton of anthems. School's Out, Welcome to My Nightmare, Only Women Bleed, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Is there something, there had to be a point where the truck's backing up and you're going pilot neatly over there. Was there something, when you first started getting a first taste of success, what did that feel like? And did you go out and buy anything? Or?
Well, the funny thing is like you're so, when you're in the business and back in those days, you did 2 albums a year. Mm-hmm. We did Love It to Death and Killer the same year. We did School's Out and $1 Billion Babies, I think pretty close to the same year. Everybody did that. Bowie did that. Everybody did 2 albums, and then you toured. So you honestly never had any time to spend any money. I mean, it was just like you were always in a frenetic, where are we tomorrow night? I remember at one point on Nightmare Tour, we did 65 cities in 72 days. One period. Would
a road manager or someone come up to you and go, here's your balance, and you'd be going, Jesus.
No, actually, Shep Gordon, who has been my manager for 43 years
wow.
now, we were introduced. We were a band without a manager. He was a manager without a band, and Jimi Hendrix knew both of us. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy said, I know this guy, and he told this guy, he said, I know this band, put us together, and the next day, and Shep and I have been best of friends for like 43 years. I always said, I don't care about any business. I said, I got a lot of great ideas. I said, but I don't want to be involved in any business. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll do the shows. I'll come up with the ideas and stuff. You do the business.
Okay.
We never had a contract. We still don't have a contract.
You are kidding me.
No,
wow.
We still don't have a contract. And Shep and I were just together a couple of days ago putting this new show together. But we don't, that's just, we're lucky to find 2 people that are
trust
honest
each other.
enough to trust each other.
And so, really, you were not in it for the money. You were in it for,
money. What the money does is it offers you freedom. Mm-hmm. It gives you the freedom to be able to tour when you want to tour, do records when you want to do records. And it took a long time to get to that point. When you felt financially secure, then you could say, okay, now I don't have to listen to the record company. I can do a record when I have something to put out. And really, who are you writing that for? You're writing it for your fans. Mm-hmm. So when Bob and I do a record together, I'm going, they're going to love this because it's going to refer back to this record, and only the real fans will get that. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're out to conquer the world anymore. I think we kind of did that. Now it's just put out quality music, put out quality shows, and if it ever quits being that, don't do it.
Yeah. I love all these tunes that I just under my wheels, 18. But there's one that comes to mind. I'm just going to play a little bit of it. Poison. I want to know what. Just play a couple seconds of it, okay?
This song was actually our biggest international hit.
Yeah,
it was bigger than School's Out.
It's a real different thing for you.
Yeah. Well, what it was at that period of time, at the end of the 80s, when all of those L.A. bands were pretty much doing a version of Alice Cooper shows. I mean, Motley Crue and they were big shows, and it was great. The one thing they all had in common was one guy, Desmond Child.
Yes.
He did the Bon Jovi records. He did Aerosmith. He did, every record that I found myself turning up on the radio had Desmond on it. And so I said, I got to get in touch with this guy. So I met him. I said, I want to do a record that sounds that great as Living on a Prayer. Okay, I don't want to do that record, but something that catchy, darker. Something that's Alice-ish, that's sexier and darker. And we came up with Poison, which was the biggest international hit we ever had. I mean, if you go to, it was number 1 in Greece for 27 weeks or something like that.
Wow.
But, you go all over the world, and that song, when we start that song, the place goes crazy.
You been to Greece?
Many times, yeah.
Yeah, it's great there. I lived on an island there.
Oh, did you?
Backed up a Greek Tom Jones. Well, I played in a band. Backing up is maybe not the right word. Yeah, it's a beautiful country.
Oh, it is great. But, I mean, that was Desmond. Desmond had that touch of being able to write that hook that no matter what it was, it was like, oh, you could tell the first time you heard it, you went, oh, it's a hit.
Yeah, I think it was around 1990. I found out, I thought Desmond Child was a female.
Yeah.
For many years.
I think sometimes Desmond thought he was a female too.
Okay, awesome. Now, speaking of Greece, do you get to go away with your family? You have a wonderful family, you have children, you have a wife.
Well, we have a place in Maui that we go to.
Oh, okay.
We go to Maui. But we live in Arizona. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat the weather there, except June, July, and August. They call it the Valley of the Sun. It's more like the surface of the sun. Mm-hmm. It's about 120 degrees. So we go to Maui then.
Yeah.
But I'm usually on tour at that time. I tour every year from May to November.
What's the policy when you're out as a family, say at a restaurant or something, and the celeb thing starts to happen?
I sign everything.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I sign everything. I take pictures. I do. I've never once said no to anybody.
Okay.
I think that if somebody wants your autograph, that's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Rue the day that they don't want your autograph. Mm-hmm. What a privileged situation we're in. I was talking to Ted Nugent the other day, and he says, how lucky we are to be doing what we want to do, and people like what we're doing, and they actually pay you to do this. I said, we were playing rock and roll.
Yeah.
We're getting up on stage doing what we like doing more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And we're still doing it after 45 years. And I went, I believe me, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. I'm
sitting here with Alice Cooper on Q107, and I don't run into too many people. I'm trying to find out anybody remembers the Rationals.
Yeah. Detroit band, sure.
Detroit.
Yeah. Rationals. I mean, there were so many. The godfather of all bands in Detroit was Mitch Ryder and Detroit Wheels.
Yeah.
That was, everybody looked up to them that was the top band. Mm-hmm. So even we did. We looked up at, Mitch Ryder. They were the guys.
Isn't it funny, though, how a lot of those bands around Detroit did well around there, and like you say, you go to L.A., it'd be like, eh.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Like the
MC5.
MC5 never really grew out into L.A. till later. They became a cult band later. Iggy is one of the only guys that went universal, all over the country, all over the world, really. Iggy is an iconic character. And it's because he never changed his attitude towards rock and roll, which is great. Iggy is one of the smartest guys I know. But, I mean, Iggy was just, there would be no punk without Iggy, I don't think.
Yeah, no kidding.
And he was really good at it. I mean, I hated to follow Iggy on stage.
Is that right?
Yeah, because, he wore the audience out. And then I'd have to get him back. That was a hard job.
And would that be a moment in the dressing room where you're going, oh, God, how am I going to do this?
Well, I'd go out and I'd watch him and I'd see he just nailed the audience.
Yeah.
And the band was, very basic. Dun, 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 dun. Our band was a lot more technical and a lot more. We were Phantom of the Opera, and he was, the punk kid with no shirt on and usually no pants on. Yeah, it's hard to beat that,
Yeah. I don't know. I've almost had to resort to that sometimes.